So now we get to the WWE Draft. Like I said, they announced the pools on Wednesday. We won't really go by the pools because that would take forever. But I just want to get your general thoughts, and we can kind of go back and forth here as far as who you think should end up where. We know where the champions are staying, and honestly, with them announcing that makes it a little bit easier because that means that, like, okay, for example, I think, can we agree that maybe Chad Gable should stay on Raw with the Intercontinental Championship? I mean, like, drafting, I'm going to write down I have my notebook in front of me like I did last year, and I'll write down some of these names that we agree on who should go where, and we can debate it if needed. But, I mean, people like him, for example, we won't go by order. He should probably stay on Raw, right, if he's currently chasing the Intercontinental Championship?
Yes.
All right, so I'm putting Chad Gable down for Raw. But who else do you think off the top of your head, like the Bloodline? They haven't announced that if stables are getting drafted together or not, or if it's separately. I would assume it's together, because there's a lot of people that are eligible. I would be surprised that they don't allow people to be drafted in teams and in groups again, like the OC and stuff like that. But
yeah,
what about
I think for Raw,
yeah.
I think with Raw, like you said, with the champions staying the way they are, I think Damage Control would go to Raw.
All of Damage Control with Bayley staying on SmackDown.
Correct.
And I said this on Twitter the other day, but I would imagine if they go to Raw and they're kind of fulfilling one of the heel roles, then Nia Jax can go to SmackDown.
I'm fine with that one, yep.
What about the Bloodline? Do you think they supplement that entire storyline over to Monday nights, or do they just keep it going on SmackDown?
I think it's going to stay on SmackDown.
Do you think Jey Uso joins them as well, or do you think he stays on Raw by himself?
I think he stays on Raw.
Jimmy Uso is not eligible, by the way. I know he's currently hurt in real life. They attacked him on SmackDown a few weeks ago, but it came out from Fightful yesterday that he's hurt, so he will not be eligible for this thing. Does AJ Styles, the number one contender of the WWE Championship, stay on SmackDown or go to Raw? I think he'll probably stay on SmackDown.
I feel like you said, I don't think they lock into, like, after Backlash, yes. But I just feel like it makes sense for him to, like, if he's going to Raw, he's not taking the belt with him. Unless, like you said, that'd be even dumber if they had, like, Jay get drafted to SmackDown, and then they have AJ drafted to Raw, and they're both going for, well, I mean, I guess you could do that, but, like, I don't think Jay, like, Cody's not losing the belt, and then if Jay was on SmackDown, there's no fucking chance you take the World Heavyweight title. I think whoever's facing should stay where they are. So I would keep Jay on Raw and AJ on SmackDown. Yeah,
I think it would make those matches a little less predictable, too, if they stay where they are. The people that you said that they just recently signed to SmackDown, I think it would be dumb, like you said, if they got drafted to the other show, if Nick Aldis just signed them. That being Braun Breaker, Tiffany Stratton. Naomi could go either way. We don't know where Jimmy's going, and she would go where Jimmy's going. I'll say she probably stays on SmackDown. I could see her moving. Maybe if Jimmy goes to Raw with Jay, I don't know. He probably would go to Raw to reunite with Jey Uso. Do Braun Breaker and Tiffany stay on SmackDown?
They should, especially with what Tiffany did last week. They should stay on SmackDown.
If she's going to feud with Bayley beyond that matchup, I would think so. I'm going to say Naomi goes to Raw because I feel like they did her and Bayley for a reason, because she's probably not going to stay. So I'm going to say Naomi goes to Raw with Jimmy, but Jimmy's not getting traded, but so that makes sense. But Jade Cargill and Bianca, now they probably won't be drafted together because they're not, like, I mean, they are a team, but not really. Do you think they go to SmackDown or stay on SmackDown? Or I think they probably will. I don't really see the reason in moving them both to Raw, and wherever they go, they should be together.
Yeah, I'd keep them both on SmackDown.
That would make sense. What about Seth Rollins? He is eligible. He is currently hurt. I mean, obviously, he's got to stay on Raw, right, with Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I'd keep him on Raw.
I got to put Jade Cargill here. Anyone else that really stands out? Like, I'm looking at LA Knight here. I don't really want him to move to Raw because I've been saying forever, I've been complaining he has to beat Logan Paul for the United States Championship, and he can't beat Logan Paul if he's on Raw because Logan Paul ain't going anywhere. I think LA Knight's, I'm gonna say he moves to Raw, but you know, I
feel like he can move to Raw and then Gunther goes to SmackDown.
And we know that Imperium's no longer a thing in that current form. Vinci's off the, I mean, he's out of the group, but I think Kaiser stays with him. So I'm going to say Imperium.
Yeah, so they both go to SmackDown.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sheamus and Drew, do they stay in the same show, or do they get separated? I know they're currently doing a storyline. Where do they go? I'm thinking they both stay on Raw. Sheamus was technically on SmackDown.
I was thinking about it. I think you keep them both on Raw.
What about CM Punk? Obviously got a feud with Drew at some point. Got to stay on Raw.
Yep.
Okay, Punk. I'm trying to think of like big names here. What about NXT people? Who do you see from NXT getting drafted?
I mean, Ilya definitely.
You think Ilya goes to Raw or SmackDown?
I mean, I'd say Raw.
That's what I was thinking.
They could use some more people. I mean, they said like the night after WrestleMania, they literally said Roxanne was going to be in the draft, but then she retained the other night.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess she still could, but like they did say that she was going. They literally said she was in the draft.
They did say she declared herself. It would be weird if she declared herself and then she wasn't eligible. That would be kind of stupid.
So, I mean, she also just won the belt at Stand and Deliver, so she should probably hold it a little bit longer. But I think she should get called up as well. I think she should go to Raw. I feel like Samantha just has a ton of like established women that I think she should go to Raw.
Yeah, I think I would put her on Raw as well. If SmackDown's getting Bianca and Jade, she should probably go to Raw. Charlotte, I don't think is eligible because she's hurt, but she would go where Andrade is, which would be Raw or SmackDown.
I feel like you could put him on SmackDown. I mean, he's like I'd move Andrade to SmackDown.
Okay, all right. I don't know. Becky, I'm going to say he goes to Raw. I won't write that one down, but I could see Andrade going to Raw. Because I think if Charlotte, wherever he goes, Charlotte goes, and SmackDown, it sounds like they have enough women, so I'll say she probably goes to Raw. The rest of Judgment Day, I mean, Damien's not eligible, obviously, but I would imagine they stay on Raw with him. I mean, why break them up?
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley's not eligible. I'm looking at, like, bigger names here. Owens, Orton. I just honestly wouldn't really move all that many people. They probably will for no reason. I think Owens and Orton should stay where they are.
SmackDown.
I would keep them on SmackDown too. They didn't join all that long ago. Owens, Orton. What about Legado and LWO? I think they should be separated after the year-long feud that they've had. I would move Legado to Raw.
I was going to say the opposite, so.
I
feel like Raw already has the heels stable. They already have I guess they have the bloodlines on SmackDown too, with the Judgment Day. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could move them to Raw, and then you have like Santos feud with Sammy.
Yeah.
If he holds the belt past Chad. Yeah, you can do Legado. I mean, I think they do need either one of the teams needs to move because I'm kind of tired of them feuding. So, I guess you just move Legado.
Yeah. DIY to SmackDown. I was saying that the other day. I feel like that would make sense.
Yep.
They could use it after losing on Monday again. I'm trying to think. I feel like that's a majority of the big names. I'm trying to see who else is on here that's eligible. Like Shayna Baszler, who gives a shit?
Do you see anyone else from NXT getting called up? Or
I feel like you gotta call up a couple more people. I mean, I guess we'll end with the NXT people here because there's no one else really from the main roster that's like a big name that really makes a difference. And I can always go through them again myself later. But from Raw, does anyone from Raw or from NXT stand out to you? Like I could see the family getting called up, D'Angelo's faction, or at least D'Angelo just himself. Because I mean, like he's been in NXT forever. What is there really left for him to do?
Nothing.
I mean, I know he pinned Charlotte Dempsey the other day, going for the pointless fucking Heritage Cup title. What about Baron Corbin?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you could put him on SmackDown and maybe get him and Braun again, or maybe something on his own.
Yeah, put him on SmackDown.
Yeah, I'm fine with Corbin. Put him on SmackDown.
SmackDown. I think Dijak's going to the main roster, too. I think he'll probably get drafted. I think he's going to Monday Night Raw. If you put Corbin on SmackDown, I would put him on Raw.
Yep.
Let's see. Those two. I mean, that's 4 right there. I think Fallon Henley might get traded. I think she might get drafted in one of the 2 brands. I could see her going to SmackDown.
I'm gonna say I could so see her on SmackDown if she gets drafted. If she Did they say who on NXT is eligible or no?
They did, and they just said plus NXT superstars in this graphic here. Although it was just Ilya and Roxanne that declared. So like I said, it would be very stupid if Roxanne doesn't get picked if she declared and neither brand wants her. That makes no sense. That would just be dumb. I'm looking at the other women, like Cora Jade ain't getting drafted. She's hurt anyway.
I think Lyra maybe, or no?
I feel like if you draft Roxanne, you should probably keep Lyra there for a little longer. I could see her getting drafted. I definitely could. I'm going to say she doesn't, though. Do you think she will?
I mean, maybe they keep Roxanne longer down because she's the champion. They call Lyra up instead.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like with Roxanne, at least she's a champion, so she has something to look for. Like, at this point, Lyra is not going to win it again, so...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't mind calling her up. And like I said, keep Roxanne down a little bit longer, and then just call Lyra up now. And but like I said, I think it would be dumb if they said she was eligible and then she didn't get picked.
Yeah. I put a slash next to Perez and I put Lyra because I feel like if she doesn't go to Raw, if Roxanne doesn't go to Raw, then Lyra. I don't feel like they both get drafted. You can't completely gut the women's division. I don't think they both get called up either.
I mean, honestly, if she was like, I don't really love her as a heel anyways, but if you're going to keep her a heel, I mean, maybe do have Lyra get called up instead, and then like later on whenever she drops the belt, she gets called up later in the year and like attacks Lyra. It's like, I was the one, like, you got picked over. I don't know. You could just do something like that. Like I said, I don't love Roxanne as a heel to begin with, but I mean, it's one or the other. So I think, like I said, I would just do Lyra, Roxanne, slash because I think one of them will get picked, but the other one won't.
Yeah, you got to keep one of them in NXT. And then the last NXT pick, I totally forgot about Carmelo Hayes. That's obviously a slam dunk. He's obviously getting drafted. To which show does he get drafted to, though, is the question. If Raw got Dragunov, I was gonna say Raw, but we said Raw for him, so I don't know for Dragunov.
I would say SmackDown for Hayes. I mean, he was on SmackDown before, so
yeah. Got the built-in exposure.
I just feel like there's more people for him to feud with, like Raw. I don't really know a ton you do with him. I mean, that's like, I feel like that's also the problem. They call up people and then there's like nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who do you think is going to get sent down to NXT though? Because isn't that like a possibility too?
It is a possibility. I'm trying to find one more person to go to Raw because I put Carmelo on SmackDown. So I'm trying to and I have an even number of names. I'm trying to find one more person just because it's going to bother me. Anyone else do you think is going to Raw?
I mean, Owens could go to Raw.
I have Owens on SmackDown. I could see him going to Raw though. I already have his name down on SmackDown.
Really cool else.
Yeah, New Day maybe. New Day staying where they are.
I thought they were already on Raw.
Yeah, they are. Right? I'm just saying I could see them getting or staying on, or Bobby Lashley's group. I mean, yeah, I'm going to put Bobby's group on Raw. Let's do that.
Yeah, but then you'd have to put Bianca on Raw.
Oh, you do.
So maybe put the Final Testament on Raw.
Final Testament. I mean, they're technically in NXT right now, but I won't say they get drafted. I'll say they go to Raw ultimately. Them and, oh god, now I need another one. Fuck. Who's staying on Raw? I already wrote down.
Staying on Raw? Natalya.
Yeah. How about this? Before I draft Natalya, how about Ricochet or Braun Strowman? And Braun didn't really do anything on Raw when he was just recently there, so I'll probably say that he stays on Raw when he comes back. He's eligible.
Oh, he's eligible. Okay.
Yeah, surprisingly. So he's probably coming back soon, which is weird. It's weird that he's injured and he's eligible, but like Charlotte's not and Rhea's not. It's weird. I put down Strowman for Raw. Okay, so that's even. All right, go back to your question. NXT. Who do I think gets drafted there? I think
you said Nakamura, which I do like.
Yeah, I mean, I know that made you laugh. That popped you, but I do believe he should probably go to NXT. The guy is the eater of pinfalls on the main roster right now. So he should probably go there. I know Final Testament is there right now. I don't think they could get drafted, but I put them on Raw ultimately. So let's assume that. OC's already on NXT. I mean, they're eligible in the draft, but I feel like they'll fucking go to NXT.
I can see Ricochet going to NXT.
Ricochet? All right.
I mean, I just feel like he's on Raw, but he's not like you said, like, not that he's eating pinfalls, he's just not doing anything.
No, he's not doing anything. Yeah, let's say he goes to NXT as well. And then I really don't want like Kaylee Ray back there because I feel like she was there for so long, but they're not doing anything with her, so I don't know. I'm gonna say I'll say Cedric Alexander and Ashanti the Adonis. They're not going anywhere, so. Unless
but like after, I don't know if it was after WrestleMania or before WrestleMania, like they were like teasing like a new gimmick for Dawn and Fire.
They were
like,
a couple,
they did,
yeah.
A segment with them and all this, and I feel like they never really followed up on that. So maybe we get that after the draft. I don't know. But.
Yeah. No, I could. Yeah, hopefully we get it after the draft, regardless of what show. I think they could get drafted at Raw just so they might get more time and more of a chance to do stuff. I'm looking at other people on Raw on the Raw roster right now.
Do you think with the third hour that the women's tag teams, like, even if you're, I just feel like you said, I feel like women's tag teams, if you're specifically a team, you should be able to float because they don't really show them on SmackDown.
No, they don't.
So, like, if you're a SmackDown women's tag team, you never get to wrestle because they don't have time for you.
Yeah.
But on Raw, they give you like 3 matches. Like we have like at least 2 women's tag team matches every week. I feel like, or at least them are like. So I feel like they should kind of like float if they're not going to show them on SmackDown or just be Raw specific. But yeah, like I said, I feel like that half the problem is they're just never on TV. Like I said, I mean, Dawn, I've never really been a huge fan of hers, but I mean. Kaylee Ray is fucking amazing, so yeah. I think they need to move to Raw so they get some spotlight.
Yeah, I think they should move to Raw. That's not a bad idea. There's just so many women, so pretty much half of the division would be floating, which I think kind of defeats the purpose. But the tag teams do get no time on SmackDown, so it is tough to say. It's hard to give a shit when they don't get any time and they're not even really shown. I do think if you move DIY to SmackDown, then Candice and Indy would both go there, obviously, with Candice and Johnny obviously being married. I could see Katana Chance and Kaden Carter also going to SmackDown. Again, like it fucking matters, but I could see them going to SmackDown. I could see them going to SmackDown. Bronson Reed, that's one name I forgot. He's kind of notable right now with Sami Zayn. Do you think he stays, or do you think he goes?
Keep him on Raw.
Keep him on Raw?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I said SmackDown, but if him and Sammy aren't facing off a Backlash, which they could, but we don't know yet, then he should probably stay on Raw. All right. I think that's everyone, though. Yeah, I mean, they're kind of in an interesting position because I don't know how actually they're going to commit to the brand split because they haven't in the past. So I don't think that they're going to now. And I didn't write down. There's some names I didn't write down here, like Liv Morgan, but I think we can assume that she stays on Raw. I'll fill in those blanks after we're done here. But yeah, I think that's a pretty decent roster. So going to Raw, we got, again, no particular order, not including the champions. Chad Gable, Alpha Academy should all be together to finish that story, Cody Rhodes style. Damage Control, Jey Uso, Naomi, Rollins, LA Knight, McIntyre, Sheamus, Punk, Dragunov, Perez, or Lyra. Judgment Day, Legado, Dijak, Final Testament, Strowman. And then SmackDown getting Nia Jax, the entire Bloodline, AJ Styles, Braun Breaker, Tiffany Stratton, Bianca Jade, Imperium, Owens, Orton, LWO, DIY, Corbin, Valen Henley, Carmelo Hayes, and the Pride. It sounds like SmackDown got the better end of that draft that we just did, but I mean, I feel like that's the case.
I feel like that's always how it goes.
Yeah, since they are currently the A show on Fox. But, maybe Raw gets the better hand this year over SmackDown, and we'll find out starting tomorrow night. We'll analyze it all next week here on the show.